Just days after reminding the world he's still one of boxing's biggest names with a knockout win, Anthony Joshua was on top of boxing again and at the peak of his career. But then, everything came crashing down. In the sunny hours of a quiet Nigerian afternoon, a violent car crash changed everything. Two members of Joshua's inner circle lost their lives, and the heavyweight icon had a moment that instantly froze his future. What really happened that day? How close did boxing come to losing one of its biggest stars? And what does this tragedy mean for Anthony Joshua's future inside and outside the ring? For more than a decade, Anthony Joshua has carried the weight of expectation like few athletes ever have. Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight world champion, a man once positioned as the future and face of boxing's biggest division. But the road hasn't been smooth. High-profile losses, public doubt, and constant questions about whether his best days were already behind him. In late 2025, Joshua appeared to answer those questions in the only language boxing understands: dominance. A knockout victory against Jake Paul that reignited belief, silenced critics, and reopened conversations about legacy-defining fights still ahead. It felt like momentum was finally on his side again. Until there was a turn of events, because just days later, far from the lights of the arena, Anthony Joshua would face a tragedy that had nothing to do with punches, belts, or rankings, and everything to do with life itself. In the days leading up to the tragedy, Anthony Joshua was in Lagos on a personal trip, away from boxing obligations and public appearances. He was traveling with people from his inner circle. Among them were Lateef Ayodele, often called Lats, a longtime strength and conditioning coach, and Sina Gami, someone who had been part of Joshua's day-to-day professional life for years. This wasn't a flashy visit. Joshua moved around Lagos quietly, doing things he's been known to enjoy whenever he's in Nigeria. Even playing table tennis together, the kind of simple routines that come when pressure briefly fades. These weren't just colleagues around him, they were trusted companions who had shared camps, fights, wins, and setbacks with him. On the afternoon of December 29th, Anthony Joshua was traveling by road along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, a long, heavily trafficked highway that connects Lagos to several other major cities. Joshua was seated in the vehicle. He was not behind the wheel. The car, driven by a hired driver, was carrying members of his close team, including Lateef Ayodele and Sina Gami. According to police and emergency reports, the vehicle collided with a stationary truck that was parked along the expressway. The truck was reportedly positioned without adequate warning signals, a common but dangerous occurrence on that stretch of road. The impact was immediate and violent. Eyewitnesses say the crash drew attention within minutes. Other motorists slowed, stopped, and gathered around as people rushed toward the damaged vehicle. Some tried to assist before emergency responders arrived. It took time for help to reach the scene. Traffic congestion on the expressway delayed movement, and first responders had to navigate through stopped vehicles to get access. Paramedics and police eventually arrived and began extracting the occupants. Two of Joshua's team members, Ayodele and Gami, were critically injured and pronounced dead at the scene. Joshua was pulled from the vehicle alive. He was conscious but injured and was transported to hospital under police escort. Doctors later confirmed his injuries were serious, but not life-threatening. The road was partially closed for hours as investigators documented the scene, questioned witnesses, and cleared the wreckage. By evening, Nigerian police had launched a formal investigation. What had begun as a normal journey ended in a long, chaotic stretch of sirens, halted traffic, stunned onlookers, and lives permanently changed, not just for Anthony Joshua, but for everyone connected to that car. Following the crash, Anthony Joshua was taken to a hospital in Lagos, where he received medical treatment under close supervision. Doctors later confirmed that Joshua's injuries were not life-threatening. He remained conscious, responsive, and was kept in hospital for observation before being discharged days later. His management team confirmed that he was physically stable, though clearly shaken by the events. As news of the accident spread, messages of concern and support began to pour in, first from Nigeria, then from across the boxing world. Nigerian authorities acknowledged the incident publicly, and senior figures offered condolences to the families of those who lost their lives. Within boxing, fighters, trainers, promoters, and analysts set rivalries aside, focusing instead on the human cost of what had happened. Joshua himself did not immediately speak publicly. Those close to him described him as grieving privately, focused on the families of Latif Ayodele and Sina Gami, and cooperating fully with authorities as investigations continued. For a fighter used to processing pain through discipline and routine, this was different. There was no camp to return to, no training schedule to distract from it, only recovery, not just physical, but emotional, and the weight of a loss that extended far beyond boxing. In the days following the crash, Nigerian authorities began a formal investigation into what caused the collision. According to police statements, the focus quickly turned to the driver of the vehicle carrying Anthony Joshua and his team. Joshua himself was treated strictly as a passenger and a victim, not a subject of the investigation. Within days, police confirmed that the driver had been formally charged with dangerous and reckless driving. Authorities stated that the charge was based on preliminary findings around driver judgment and failure to avoid the parked vehicle. The case was transferred to the courts, with legal proceedings expected to continue in Nigeria. Officials emphasized that the investigation remained ongoing and that further conclusions would depend on court findings. And as tributes continued to surface, it became clear that this tragedy had touched the entire boxing community. In the aftermath of the tragedy, questions about boxing inevitably surfaced, but they did so quietly, almost reluctantly. Before the crash, Anthony Joshua was once again part of serious heavyweight conversations. Momentum had returned, options were open, big decisions were ahead. Now, everything is on pause. There is no confirmed timeline for his return to training, no public discussion of upcoming fights, and no indication that career planning is even a priority right now. Those close to Joshua have suggested that boxing, for the moment, has taken a backseat. Grief doesn't follow training schedules, and recovery isn't measured in rounds or camps. Historically, Joshua has rebuilt himself more than once, physically, mentally, and professionally. But this is different. This loss didn't come from defeat in the ring. It came from real life, and it involved people who were part of his everyday world. When and if he returns, the question won't just be about power, speed, or belts. It will be about whether the fire is still there and whether boxing still fits into the life he's now reassessing. For Anthony Joshua, Nigeria has always been a place of grounding, a reminder of who he is beyond the ring. And it's fitting, in a painful way, that this chapter unfolded there too. The boxing world will wait. The fights can wait. The noise will return when and if he's ready. For now, what remains are the names Latif Ayodele and Sina Gami, men who stood behind the scenes, far from the cameras, yet played a role in shaping one of boxing's biggest careers. This isn't just a reminder of how fragile a fighter's career can be. It's a reminder of how fragile life itself is. Our thoughts remain with the families of Latif Ayodele and Sina Gami,